So here are some screenshots of the graph, of different graphs. Get this all on one page. There we go. Of those graphs, which one would have a degree of 8, or which two? Number 2, right? Because degree of 8 is even, therefore both arms have to be in the same direction. The only one that has both arms in the same direction is number 2. This one. All right. Which of the following has a leading coefficient that is positive? How do you know if the leading coefficient is positive? What arm do you look at? The right arm, and it should be up. So which ones have right arms that are up? 3 and 4. Boom, boom. So those have leading coefficients that are positive. Okay. We're going to skip to the second page. Can you guys make a rough sketch of that? Quick sketch of that one? And let's mark the x-intercept or the y-intercept as well. And then I'll put it up in a sec here. So your degree should be 6. Does everybody agree with that? Leading coefficient, there's a negative 1 in front of this x, times the 1 in front of that x, raised to the power of 4, times the 1 in front of that x, which gives us a negative leading coefficient. The zeros are 0, 1, and 4. Let's extend the graph. 4 is out there. Both arms should be down. At 0, what happens? Anything? It's true. What happens at 1? Bounces, and then a 4 goes through. Good with that? I will ask you to do stuff like this on a test. Okay. We're gonna assume that these two graphs are the lowest possible degree. All right. So what is the degree of A here? Lowest possible. So what is the degree or the multiplicity at point A? What's the lowest multiplicity that will give you a bounce? 2. So that has to be a multiplicity of 2. If you pass straight through, what's the multiplicity? 1. And this one's 1. So what's the degree of this function? 4. What's the leading coefficient? Negative, right? Everybody agree with that? Okay. Second one. What's the multiplicity at P, point P? It's just negative. It's not negative 4. I meant to write VE, sorry. B. What's the multiplicity of P? 3, right? Because it is a point of inflection. What about S? So what's the degree? Leading coefficient is positive because both arms are up. All right. Now, I'm going to tell you some information, and you need to sketch the graph with proper multiplicities. So, converting the words. So, we have a positive leading coefficient, all right? One real zero of multiplicity 1. So, what that means is, remember, zeros, x-intercepts, and roots are all the same thing. It has one x-intercept that has a multiplicity 1. You can give them numbers, you can label them as letters. I don't actually care. I'm going to use letters. So, I'm just going to say x minus a has a multiplicity of 1. Is that understandable? All right. We have two real zeros with a multiplicity of 2. So 2 different zeros. So that means we have an x minus b and an x minus c. They both have multiplicities of 2. So put 2, 2. And then we have one real zero of a multiplicity of 5. So that's going to be an x minus, I'll just use d of 5. What's the degree of this function? 10. All you really need to do is add up the multiplicities. 5 and 2 is 7, and 2 is 9, and 1 is 10. Okay? So the degree is 10. Degree is equal to 10. Leading coefficient is negative. And then we mark our zeros. I just work left to right because they haven't given you any is positive, not negative. Just work left to right because they haven't really said where they are or what the numbers are. So I'm just going to call that A, that B, that C, and that D. Even degree, positive leading, both arms are up. So we start up, we come to A, what happens? Goes through. What happens to B? Bounces because it has a multiplicity of 2. What happens to C? Bounces because it has a multiplicity of 2. What happens to D? So curvy, wavy, point of inflection. So you can exaggerate it even though it doesn't really look like that. That's okay. And if you're unsure, just write POI, and that'll be very clear to me on a test. Okay? All right, last one. Negative leading coefficients. So LC is negative. Two real zeros and multiplicity 1. So we can just say that's x minus a and x minus b. One real zero of multiplicity 3. That means we have an x minus c to the multiplicity of 3 and one of a multiplicity of 4. What's my degree? Add up the multiplicities. 4, 3, 1, 1, 9. Mark out your A, B, and C. A, again, I just work left to right. Leading coefficient is negative. So what does that mean about the arms? So the right one has to be down, left one has to be up. So you go to the left, you start up, you come down. What happens at A? Goes through, it turns around. What happens at B? What happens at C? POI, boy. It's a point of inflection. And what happens at D? Bounces. And again, if you're unsure, just say, hey, that's a POI. Sorry? Is that okay? I would like you to do 3 to 5, please. Number 4, just write the factored form. Don't worry about 4b.